Gloria Mariwa, welcome to the Sports Management Podcast.
Thank you, Marcus. I'm happy to be here.
It's great to have you on the show. You're a footballer, professional freestyler at the intersection of sports, tech, and gender equity. Also, the founder of Wichesa and
Yeah.
digital creator. So you're doing a lot of things. So can you tell us a little bit about a day in your life with all of these tasks that you're doing?
Well, that's a tricky question because every day is different and unique in its own way. With my different roles, I have different responsibilities. So like today was a content day and I literally just finished editing a video a few minutes ago. So that was my main focus today. But then tomorrow could be planning for a project for Wichesa, like a Christmas tournament we're organizing with our team. And other days can just be me scrolling online because I need to keep up with the trends for the next content I'm releasing, whether it's on LinkedIn or on social media platforms.
Interesting. So let's take them one by one. I know you're a digital creator for 14th Gunner. So,
Yes.
what does this role entail?
Well, it's up to me to decide, but then it's a whole mix of sharing my personal journey in football and the sports industry, plus also promoting women's sports with a focus on football. So it can be from when a tournament comes up, like the World Cup or Olympics, I'm covering that with an African focus because I am African. I need to represent part of me. But other times can just be me doing a football freestyling skills video or just taking something that has happened in my life recently and turning it into a learner, an interesting story that people can learn from. Yeah.
Interesting. So, what does the name come from? 14th Gunner.
I actually love that you asked that. So if you don't know, I'm a big Arsenal fan, and Gunners are Arsenal fans. And at the time of creating this when I was 15, I love the number seven. I still do. But then it's such a common selected number. So I was like, what's better than one seven, two sevens? So I just did seven plus seven and I got 14. But 14 Gunner just sounded plain. So I was like, let me add the for some spice. And then 14th Ghana was born. But before that, it was called Ghanaria on Twitter. That's why I started. And that sounded disgusting. So I'm happy that 14th Ghana came up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a better name for sure. And now you have grown that community into 60,000 plus people across TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Also created some viral moments with millions of views. So, how's the journey look like to achieve this success?
Just like every journey, the progress is definitely not linear. I started out not even knowing that I would go this far, honestly, because as I said, Twitter was my first platform, and I created the account when I noticed that Arsenal had a women's football team. I didn't know that until late 2021. Mind you, I've been an Arsenal fan since birth, technically. Um, so when I found out, I was just so excited, and I wanted to share that joy with everyone and anyone online. But I knew too many people on Instagram. I didn't want anyone to know me. So I went to the platform that I had no one connected to me with, and that was Twitter, before Elon Musk bought it. So yeah, from there I would just like repost all things on Arsenal women. For some time it was just strictly them. But over time I changed to general women's football and now women's sports. And this would be like from graphics, congratulating players on some wins, like what one that would score 100 goals, make 50 appearances, signing with the club. I still remember the Tobin Heath signing. That was such a big one for me. Though, yeah, it was just a fun page with me being a fan girl at 15. But then in 2022, around the mid side of it, I moved on to Instagram and started posting videos of me doing skills. And from there, I just kept on growing. Then I moved to TikTok, also around mid 2022. Started posting that was a bit inconsistent, though I gained some traction. And right now, the last platform I joined is the biggest platform, and the first one I joined, I barely post on right now.
Yeah, I mean that's how it goes, and TikTok they have found the algorithm that is, it can benefit small creators if you're having good content. So more and more creators are, I mean, taking advantage of that.
Sure.
You're also the founder of Wichesa, as we said. So what is this company? What are you doing with this company?
So I'm still in the figuring out phase of Wichesa, but basically the main point of it is to grow Kenyan women's football as a start, but later on that will grow to Africa and the world, I believe. Though this comes in using three pillars. So catering for the fans, for the athletes, and for like the business side of stuff. So branding in a way. Using those three, we are hoping to create a network, an ecosystem where athletes are catered well for, and once they're catered well for, they can start reflecting parts of their lives online, let's say, then that would bring more fans. And once more fans come, you'd be able to reach out to brands and be like, hey, you align with this club. Would you want to be part of it by sponsoring or doing something to help them improve? We have this many eyeballs from the fans. So like just making that ecosystem, because it's something quite basic in my opinion. Though in Kenya, it's still not really been implemented in women's sports or women's football. So I'm hoping to fill that gap while also creating community impact.
That's great. So how is in Kenya and in Africa, how is the interest for women's sports and women's football maybe in particular? Because I feel like I live in Sweden, so in know Europe the best, but here it's really picking up and also in the United States. Is that the same in Kenya?
Yes, and I'm relatively new to the women's sports side here. I started following up in 2022, though it's actually ironic. I followed up the England's league before my own league, but yeah, I was shocked when I found out that the Kenyan professional league has been there since 2014. And once I had Canada, what started the league earlier this year, I was like, Kenya has actually been there for a while and they've had potential to um grow to the potential to like a better version of themselves, but people haven't really cared that much on it, sadly. So the hunger is there, definitely. The passion is there. You know, Kenyans would watch a football match. As long as the football is good, they don't care who's playing, you know. And also national pride is quite there. So I see high potential and that's inevitable and was going to happen soon enough with Kenyan women's football. A great sign of it is the under-17 women's team. They qualified for the World Cup in 2024. That was but last year, that was actually a while ago. But it's a sign of how the most neglected, in my opinion, side of Kenyan football, the young girls, made it to the global stage, being the first Kenyan group to do that. So yeah, in a few years, and in the centuries, not centuries, the decades to come, I'll be really excited to see where Kenyan women's football goes.
For sure. And I know you wrote an article, Women's Sports Didn't Fail the System, they're building a better one. And I've talked a lot about that on the podcast, that the women's sports need to have like do their own thing. They have their own demands, their own ecosystem, and not just make a copy paste of the men's. Is so that's how you see it as well?
Yes, definitely. I honestly believe that we don't have to copy what has already existed. You know, we have a great opportunity to redefine how women's sports should be and how we want it to be. And we shouldn't waste that by being like, oh, this has existed, let's just copy that. That's just the easy route and we can do better. Though, even in my recent piece on the Women's Sports Tech Journal on LinkedIn, I talked about how next year's sports tech would be quite different in terms of the community impact through social media. And in it, I just realized how women's sports brings a new version of sports tech in the industry, and I'm quite excited to see where that goes.
For sure. And you talk a lot about sports tech, innovation, fan engagement. So where do you now, AI is coming in and it's more and more technology. So where do you see this going?
Hmm. AI is quite tricky, you know. I always say that tech is just a tool and we're the drivers of it. So we are the ones to decide what we want from it. Though with AI, honestly, it can be applied almost anywhere and everywhere for the good or bad side of things. So my answer would be quite biased, though I would say in terms of the content side, would probably make it easier. AI would probably make it easier for a lot of clubs to release things, you know, as long as you just get a full game recording, let's say, there'll be multiple, hopefully affordable and accessible programs online where you can just feed the AI the game footage and it helps with analysis, content clips to post online to like brand yourself better and just make the whole process of marketing a bit better for the club and also tactical side a bit better. So yeah, I'm quite excited to see that.
Me too. And you have also argued that it's the creators that will build the next generation of sports fandom and not maybe the traditional media in such case. And I mean, you are a creator, content creator. Where do you see content creators taking a bigger part in fandom and fan engagement going forward?
I actually just had a conversation a few days ago on the season one platform with Matt One, and he was telling me how VR and VR and XR content or the use of VR and XR is going to be quite useful in the sports industry. And I told him how honestly with my generation Gen Z, we don't really sit down for the whole football game. Like I don't think I've ever done that. I get bored. I have to have my phone nearby or an alternative device to do something, whether it's posting my thoughts or just scrolling and doing another activity. So with the VR headsets, let's say, and augmented reality, you can have another activity to do with the headset without having to have multiple devices and how content creators come in. You can also have a live stream of your favorite creator in a more immersive experience. So let's say you'd see them as if they're in the room with you, you'd be able to interact better, and you'll also be able to like access things like statistics of players using real-time detection from the VR headsets and augmented reality tech.
Yeah, yeah. It's an interesting time, as you said. The young generation is. You talk a lot about the like shorter attention span that they have and doing multiple things. So maybe, as you said, traditional media, a young person is not interested in watching the whole game in its entirety. Maybe you want to check highlights, or you're watching the game as and doing something else simultaneously. So really, yeah. To the question, do you think that then the traditional media in that sense is not really fulfilling the younger consumers?
Yes, I truly believe that. I don't remember the last time I watched a full football game on TV. And that's because normally I would watch with my sister, but she's halfway across the world. So watching a game is quite boring. Though that's also a gap that this tech would fill, being able to watch games with friends without being there in person, which has its own consequences, but it can be quite useful in some instances. Though traditional media is quite boring. They're not innovative and they're not really catering for the women's sports industry because you've seen issues of the WSL kickoff timings being a bit early and the fans complaining. Then the whole league just changes it from 12 p.m. kickoff to 11:55, and I'm like, the fans is what brings you revenue, you should respect the fans a bit more, Though that's why I see places like YouTube being the main sport of streaming for football games and sports games because I know YouTube's quite innovative and I know they'll adapt the immersive technology experience of watching games and interacting better with the community during live streams or being able to like turn the video clips into direct things you can show on social media. So my biggest bet would be on YouTube with the work with Google. They'll do amazing.
That's an interesting take because I know I work a lot in ice hockey. I know that's not huge in Kenya, but
Yeah.
the Swedish women's ice hockey league moved from to have a traditional media contract to be on TV to YouTube for this season, and it was seen mostly as a downgrade that okay, TV didn't want to invest in them, so now they are on YouTube. But maybe what you're saying is that maybe this is the right place to be, and they might attract a younger audience or like a new type of audience that they wouldn't have otherwise.
True. And with YouTube, another benefit I have is streaming democracy. You don't have to have a paywall. Like, let's say if I want to watch something on ESPN, if I'm not using my local broadcaster, I'd be smashed with a paywall just as soon as I want to watch something of like $17 for a year. And okay, that could be a wrong amount, but it would be a long subscription when I just want to watch one game. While YouTube, you can be scrolling and it's catered to you, whatever pops up. So you click on it. If you don't like it, you move on. If you like it, you subscribe, you keep watching, you know? So it makes it more accessible. YouTube, I believe it's available in majority of the countries across the world. So yeah, just adds on to the accessibility compared to like some other streaming sites like Amazon Prime or yeah, it was Prime Video when I was trying to watch a show and it's like, oh, it's not available in your region, you know? So yeah, that's the benefit YouTube has.
Mm. And we're talking about the women's sports need to do their own thing, not copying the men's. Is there
Yeah.
also like cultural or other chain differences that you need to take into account now? You are in Africa. Are there other needs? Do the fans want other things? Is it a risk that like if you copy the whatever, if there is like a westernization of something that you're trying to copy that, do you see it as a difference, or do you see that the like a women's football fan in Kenya is like they have similar needs, so to say, than someone in England, for example?
I believe that the needs are the same, well, more or less,
Hmm.
because for you to play well, as an athlete, for you to play well, you need to be well physically, mentally, emotionally, you know, so that means like a decent salary, a safe place to live in, you know, all the nitty-gritty stuff. But as of now, as much as the needs are similar, I wouldn't say that we, Kenya and other places that are developing to just copy and paste, you know, like if we're not doing that for the men's game, why should I do it in Kenya? You know, like you can get some inspiration on the stuff because we have similarities, similar needs and similar goals, but it shouldn't be the blueprint, you know. With Kenya and Africa as a whole, I see the advantage of cultural inclusion. You know, there's a video I did recently during a basketball tournament, first one I ever covered. I'm not so sure if you're aware of the Kenyan bracelet. Of this, have you seen
Uh,
it before?
I think I've seen it, but I don't know about it or the meaning.
So it's just a bracelet with a flag of Kenya
Hmm.
designed on it. And in Africa, it's a big thing. Like if you're seen with a Kenyan bracelet, they're like, you're that person, you know, like you have vibes, you have life, you know, because Kenyan Kenya is amazing, you know, I'm biased. Though yeah, so during the end of the tournament, it was the final day. There's some people, some basketballers who are playing that were willing to take part in the videos that we posted. And as a thank you gift, I got these bracelets and I recorded myself gifting them, you know. And that was a win-win in so many scenarios. To the players, they got a personalized gift, giving them some memory from a new location, let's say they're in, and just making the whole player experience a bit better. From a fan and community aspect for Kenyans, it was like, oh, this is such a nice thing to do because we love giving people and gifting. And we love gifting the Kenyan bracelet, you know. So that was like cultural significance in one way. Plus, it's authentic storytelling, you know. There are a
Hmm.
lot of girls, a lot of basketballers who say no to the video because they're a bit shy. I know that's one barrier that still a lot of people have to go through, though at least for the ones who stood up and were like, yeah, sure, I would love to do that, even though they were scared, that was like a small gift that they also received for the courage.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How's the women's sport in Kenya in general? Is football the biggest sport? How does the sport landscape look in Kenya?
I believe football's the biggest sport, but again, I'll be biased. So it gets the most hype. It's loved a lot. Yeah, I probably should be keeping up with other sports a bit more. Though I would say after football, it would probably be basketball, you
Mm.
know, then women's volleyball. Ironically, they've really dominated in Africa. I think they're like 11-time champions back to back, which is crazy.
Wow.
Oh, athletics exists. I keep forgetting that we dominate in athletics in the world stage. But yeah, the way I just remember the sport, I was like, oh yeah, we also do well in that. It's kind of the way the sports scene is in Kenya. Um, on the global stage, it may be a bit up and down, but in Africa, I believe that we generally dominate a few sports there.
Hmm, interesting. I like sports is so great in many things for your physical health, mental health, but also a lot of learnings you can take from sports to be a good teammate and overcoming adversities and so many other things. So great to hear that it's also a big interest for sports in general in Kenya. And I've spoken to, I don't know if you're aware of them, Amy Wandai and Cynthia Mambo, both of them working in like African Sports Network and Sports Connect Africa. So a lot of very driven women for in the sports industry, it seems, yourself included, of course. So that's a great thing to see.
Thank you. I've heard of both of them. I've not yet talked to Amy, but Cynthia is a really good friend. Yeah.
Ah, that's great. I didn't know that. So yeah, again with the we talked about the name of if you're going back to your company, the 14th Gunner, but Wichesa, if I pronounce that correctly, is
Yeah.
that does that mean something or where did that come from?
I'm loving these questions. So when I name things, I think it through. Though
Mm,
which has a is a silly play where we was similar. It sounds similar to women. That's what it symbolizes. We women. Then cheza means play in Swahili.
mm,
So it was women play, we cheza.
mm.
Yeah, at the start it was just for women who play sports in Kenya, Kenyan Swahili name inside of it. Sorry, a Swahili word inside of it, and our goal is just help women because as much as that's a bit biased, I believe that the men get a lot of support and the women are left. So to even it out a bit is to just cater to what's needing attention right now, I believe.
Yeah, definitely. And you're building women's football community in Kenya from grassroots tournaments to global partnerships. So can you give some examples of some things that you have done with Wichasa?
So last December, we co-partnered with two football Christmas tournaments. One by Essia Akida. She's a Kenyan national star. I think she's the top scorer in the whole country, but most people don't know that because nobody really keeps up with women's football history, sadly, but they will know that soon. So we collaborated with her to help out her tournament in Kilifi. That's along the coastal region in Kenya. And also another professional footballer who's currently injured, though she's called Madeline Nekesa. Um, her other name is MJ. She's played for the national team, was a regular, and she also played in Slavia Prague in Czech Republic, and
Mm.
as he had played in Greece. AO, AOP, what is that club? How is it pronounced? AO,
Which one? Olympiacos,
I think, no,
Panathinaikos,
no, AOP.
AEK, maybe Ike, AEK.
This is
Oh,
gonna be so sad that I forgot this.
I actually lived in Greece
Oh,
for a few years, so I'm just trying to
oh
name
gosh,
drop teams that I know.
oh gosh, okay, it's fine.
I think the most in Athens it's either Olympiacos, Panathinaikos, or Ike, and then if you have a PAOK also, PAOK.
It's because I never learned how to pronounce it, so now I'm
Okay,
regretting that. I
okay,
mean, yeah, Pauk. Yeah,
PAOK. Yes, there you
yeah.
go. So
I
that's
was
in
mixing up the starting.
yeah, that's in northern Greece in Thessaloniki.
Yeah, so they're one of the few Kenyan players who have made it out of Africa to play. Yeah, now it's growing, but yeah. So I was happy to partner with them. We donated sports bras and sanitary towels to each player that was participating to help the players be more comfortable on and off the pitch because those are the small details that really add up in the whole athlete experience.
Hmm, interesting. I mean, a young woman and have done so many things already, being an entrepreneur. So, did this come natural to you, or how has it been to be, working for yourself at such a young age?
let me pause on that. I forgot to talk about Her Game 2 partnership with Wichesa.
Yeah.
So have you heard of Her Game 2?
No.
It's a UK NGO that focuses on like inclusivity
Mm.
of women and young girls in sports, and they started with football.
Mm.
Yeah, so we helped them partner with two Kenyan clubs and making the first African partnership. So
Mm.
that was really cool. So the two clubs were Coyote Starlets and Kahawa Pride FC. So yeah, we're still in the making of the whole partnership and what the systems would be like, but it was quite exciting. Now to answer the question on my whole journey.
Mm.
Honestly, it's just a whole part of like it's a whole journey of figuring it out because I never knew that I would end up where I am right now. I still have a lot to do, a lot to learn, but I'm just doing my best and figuring it out, you know. I'm sure you probably don't know that I've not joined university yet. I've been on a gap year since
Yeah.
2023, and I'm just doing things that interest me, that align with my passion, my core values, and just trying to solve things, you know, and hopefully making a path that when I look back, I'm like, oh, that actually really made sense. And I'm happy I did that, you know. It's quite scary, I won't lie, but so far it looks good. So I think I'm doing something right.
Definitely. And I mean, my question was basically like if that, like this entrepreneurial spirit, is that something that you feel has come natural to you? Or why did you decide to not just work for an existing company? Why did you decide to start your own?
First of all, existing companies probably didn't think I was experienced because like right now, you know, university degree, a 19-year-old being like, hey, I want to work with you all. I don't have any credibility that you can see apart from my social media page. Would you hire me? You know, in Kenya, that's not gonna work because here they're always about like, oh, have your degree or some relevant work. Like, okay, you're lucky if you find some place that says if you have work experience, they'll hire you. But my qualifications on paper are terrible. Okay, not right now, but they used to be terrible. So I just decided to start my own initiative. But the entrepreneurial side of or spirit of me, I feel like it's just been in me. I wouldn't say it came naturally, but there's some signs early in my childhood that showed that and reflected that. So yeah, it's all a journey of improving and just following your passion, I guess. Yeah, I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, definitely. And following your passion is great, and taking the your destiny in your own hands, so to speak, that you felt like if you weren't able to getting a job at the moment, then and you had a passion, then you started your own company and followed that passion and you digged out your own path.
Mm. Also, I'm a really bad early riser. I'm a night owl, and honestly, if I were to be hired by somebody while I'm in Kenya, I would probably go for someone in a different time zone towards the west coast, you know, whether it's West Africa or the States, because that would actually tap into my peak hours. I normally work from like 4 p.m. to 2 a.m., you know. In
Mm.
the morning, I'm so lazy, whether or not I wake up early. I have no passion to do anything. I just want to sleep. I don't even feel like eating. So yeah, I think that's also another factor. Normal jobs, you start at 9 a.m. I don't want to even leave the house at 9 a.m., let alone be awake. So yeah,
You're not a morning person.
definitely not.
No. So then, yeah, as you said, then you found a way to get around that. So you started your own company instead.
Yeah, be my own boss so I can sleep whenever I want.
Exactly. Love that. I mean, you've done a lot in a short period of time. You're still, as we said, you're young, but this far in your career, has there been any bumps on the road, any difficulties? And if so, how did you overcome them?
Even you calling it a career so far is crazy because I'm just doing what I love. It doesn't feel like a job, you know. The other day I was asked, do you have a job? And I was like, no, I'm just 19. That's normal in Kenya, 19-year-olds not having a job. It's kind of sad. But yeah, obviously the bumps on the road. The major one right now is still figuring out whether um I need to go to university. Part of me, the techie startup passionate person, is like, nah, I don't need university. Like immersive technology, what I would go study. I can learn that online. Whatever universities have right now is outdated information because the industry is growing and things are still being developed, like I can do better outside. But the other part of me is like, okay, I need university for um a bit of exposure to a new life, a new area. I wouldn't study in Kenya. I know that the programs here are bad, but in terms of what I want to study, it isn't as developed here. So I'll probably like go to the States, but with the current state of the States right now, it's kind of like, do I really want to leave? But yeah. So one of the bumps would probably be deciding whether or not to go. It's on and off. It's very annoying, but I think eventually I'll have to. Um, that would probably be the biggest bump that I think of day to day. Yeah. Then also just for social media is showing up regardless of what you post and what metrics show up, because I think it's everything every creator has to, I think that every creator has to go through is forgetting about the numbers and just enjoying the process of creating.
Mm.
As an artist, I don't feel obligated to post according to a certain calendar. But I had to change the perspective to be like, okay, I'm not forced to post, but I get to post. I get to express myself and I get to set up 3 posts in a week. Not more than that, not less, just 3 posts minimum. And you've ticked the goal for the journey. Um, yeah, so those are probably the main two. Yeah.
Yeah. Your revenues, are they coming mostly from your like content or from Wichesa or how's that working?
Which as it doesn't have any source of revenue as of now. Thankfully the first source of support, monetary support we got was through our grant
Mm.
from an US NGO that I used to work with as a teen advisor, Gallup. So I'm grateful for that, though I really need to create revenue streams from Wichesa because I have so many ideas and ways we can contribute and impact the Kenyan community a bit more. Yeah, but it's yet to be implemented. Though my main sources of revenue come from content creating and mainly from TikTok. When a campaign comes around, they call me up and they're like, okay, let's work together. You need this amount of videos, this is the content brief. Yeah, posted during the tournament, and yeah, that's how I normally get paid.
Mm. Interesting. It would be interesting to follow your journey for sure. Um, a lot of young listeners on this podcast, maybe similar to your age, maybe slightly younger or older, but they want to make a career in the sports industry.
Mhm.
What would be some advice that you have for them?
I would say to do it scared, really. Um, don't come to the table thinking that you need to have everything in place. Like I came unknowingly and I'm glad I came and stuck with it. And I'm glad that I took the opportunity to figure it out, and reach out for help because a lot of people helped me out from the start of my journey in the sports industry, giving me a chance, showing some support and gaining experience and learning from them. I still learn from a lot right now. And soon you'd be the one who would be connecting people and um giving advice like that. That I gave advice to a little, okay, not little. Actually, she's older than me now that I think of it. She's 20 and I'm 19, and I'm calling her little. But she was asking me on advice on how to enter the sports industry, and I was so shocked because I'm like, "You're coming to me? I'm your reference." Then there's another person who recently told me to connect her with somebody else. I was like, "Oh, now I'm making connections between people." I was the one who was being connected. So, yeah, just take one step at a time, and everything will line up as long as you follow your passion and keep improving, and ask for help. Yeah.
That's great advice. And I think it's important to ask someone like yourself as well, because I've had a lot of people on the podcast who has worked 50 years. And of course, they have a lot of great tips to share. But you are like right there right now. You're also young, so you're coming with maybe better of what's trending now, what's happening now, how is it like to apply for a job now. Like you're having a skill set and a knowledge that maybe someone who has worked 50 years doesn't have at the moment. So it's, I think definitely it's, of value that someone is asking you advice because you are in it at the moment.
Yeah. And another thing that I would add on would be like believe in yourself, even if you don't fully have the belief, just fake it till you make it because belief, like confidence comes from belief first, So yeah, always believe that you have something to bring to the table. Don't just be like, oh, I'm young, I don't have experience, my knowledge is still like really low. All I have is time, but I don't even know if I'll be able to complete X and Y, But just try and give yourself a bit of grace while you're coming into the industry because you will make a lot of mistakes. But you'll also be able to learn from them if you give yourself the chance to.
Definitely. Looking ahead, where do you see yourself in the next couple of years? I mentioned that you said that you don't know if you want to study or not, but anything else that is on your radar for the future?
To redefine sports tech, whenever I look at sports tech, I always hear things related to biology, how to use lactic acid, VO max, whatever that is, like the breath
Yeah, VO2
measure.
max.
Yeah, whatever that is. I don't even know. I dropped biology in year nine. That was a bad decision. I didn't like the teacher. Though whenever I look at sports tech degrees, they're all biology focused. I even made an article about this. Though sports tech is way more than that,
Hmm.
And I really want to redefine the industry and build community while doing that because often in the tech industry, there's a lot of pizzazz, but not as much of empathy and human connection with tech. And I want to combine those two industries and redefine it while also being able to explore the world using sports and making impact, hopefully positive impact. Yeah.
Hmm. That's a big goal. So redefining sports tech and traveling the world.
To be honest, traveling the world is such a common one. And redefining the sports tech industry, like if there's nothing that's currently existing as okay, the things that are existing, but the quite few, there's less competition. You have the whole opportunity to build it. Like it's not that hard,
Yeah.
saying that.
I like to end on a networking question. So, who from your network do you think would be a good guest on this show?
Hmm. Funny thing, actually, shortly before this podcast, I was like, okay, who do I think of? I would say Kazme, because I recently talked about her game too. She's one of the co-founders, and I believe she has a lot of things to say regarding her experience and just like her process throughout the women's game. Yeah.
That's a good one. Anything else that I haven't mentioned yet that you want to say before we sign off here?
Um, and I wish you told me that. You're gonna ask that earlier. What of it? Oh
That's
gosh.
okay. It's just if there was something like that you really want to mention about your company or something that you're doing, if you want to do some shout outs for any of your channels or anything just before. So if people wants to reach you, where should they go?
To my LinkedIn. And if you wanna find my email, it's somewhere on the LinkedIn. Like nobody really uses the contact info section as much. So yes, the one thing I would say to the viewers watching this, I would advise them to not advise them. I would tell you guys to invest in African women's sports because it's a true gold mine and y'all are missing out if you don't. If I had the money right now, trust me, I would be spending a ton because I see the potential. First of all, the statistic that everyone in three youth in by 2050 will be African is one thing. Sports is driven by youth. So without youth, no sports in a way. Okay, that's one big thing. Another thing, the continent is ever growing, fastest rate of growth. I know people have been singing that for years, for decades maybe, but it's truly showing not only in the sports industry, but in the tech, in the fashion industry, like countless things across the continent. Each country has its own specialities. Then when it comes to community and just the whole sense of sports, it's a whole blend of multiple sections, and the way women's sports is a movement where it's kind of like women empowerment that really thrives in Africa. Like Africa is one of the continents that has the most female CEOs, and the fact that there's that statistic of 94% of C-suite executives show that they've played sport in some point of their life. It shows that like entrepreneurship and sports go hand in hand in one aspect. And if the CEOs are there, I'm sure they've also played sports in some point of their life. So they see the importance of that, and they'll be willing to make it better. But generally just invest more because y'all are focusing on, let's say, Europe or North America or whatever. Like the global south is here. And if you miss it, that's too bad. But I won't. Yeah.
I love that. That's a great way to finish up. Invest in African sports.
Yes, African women's. Okay, African
African.
sports in general. African
Uh,
sports in general. Like even with AFCON coming up, it feels better than Christmas. Like it's the
mm.
men's side of sports. Yeah, it's also okay, but like the whole vibe of the tournament. I've heard a lot of people say that AFCON is better than the World Cup. The American one that's coming up next year, maybe. But like when you think of AFCON on its own, I think of the music, I think of the culture, the energy, the fun, joy, the memes that come out of it, the players, there are a lot of nitty-gritty issues that can be solved. But sports is truly what you feel, and Africa gives you that feeling very easily. So that's why I stay on that, invest in African sports, women's sports, for bonus points. Yeah.
I love that.
Cool.
Gloria, thank you so much for taking the time to join Sports Management Podcast.
Thank you so much, Marcus. I really appreciate it. I honestly thought that this would be a bit more nerve-wracking, but you made it so conversational, and yeah, I'm grateful.
I appreciate that. Thanks so much.